Oh, you gotta give him that huck.
Kweebec Corner has absolutely cooked. For those of you who don't know, he got invited to fly down to Ireland to meet up with the Hytale team for their annual Hycon to give a presentation about Hytale and what it means to the community. And man, did Connor get what he really deserved, man. Connor got to see 4 minutes of gameplay along with updates to the lore and the capital and Scaraks as well, a brand new Scarak update. Today, we're going to be covering that Scarak update for you guys. My name is Chris, welcome back to the CanadianFlash channel and enjoy the video. For those of you who don't know, the Scaraks are a bug-like faction in Zone 2 in Hytale, and their lore is actually quite interesting because back in the day, we don't know when this really was, but they did used to enslave the Pharans, and then the Pharans have these things on their wrists called freedom bracers, and that reminds them of slavery, and it kind of ties back well into Zone 2 as well, because wind is the element of Zone 2, and wind is also kind of the freedom element, so those freedom bracers also have the wind logo on them for the Pharans as well, which reminds them of the freedom of the past slavery of the Scaraks. But one thing that was always very confusing is that the Scaraks kind of seemed like mindless bugs, and if you saw in the trailer, you can see the Scaraks kind of flying around, and in some screenshots as well, they're just kind of like bugs, just walking around. They don't seem very intelligent. But what Connor saw in one of the videos that, or one of the screenshots or videos that he saw in Dublin, Ireland, was that the Scaraks seem smarter now. They seem like an intelligent group of bugs, which is very interesting because now it makes sense how they enslaved this really smart looking fox faction in Zone 2, also known as the Pharans, and I want to know a lot more about that. Connor was mentioning that they actually seem smart, which is so cool, and one way that kind of reflects this is what their bases look like, the ziggurats or the Scarak nests. Now, we've seen a concept art, this was about a year ago, of a Pharan overlooking a Scarak nest or ziggurat, and we can see that there's these like kind of purple pipes on it, and we didn't really think nothing of it of the time. I mean, I thought about it a little bit, I don't know if other people did as well, but I'm like, why are there pipes in this ziggurat or this Scarak nest? And now it completely makes sense that these bugs are actually intelligent, and I don't know for real who put those pipes in those Scarak nests. It could have been the Pharans when they were enslaved. Maybe they have the actual like piping, I don't know, are they plumbers or something? I really have no clue, but then that ties in very well with what Connor saw inside of those Scarak nests, and what he saw was this blue like glowing goo. I don't know how you describe it. There was always been hints of blue with the Scaraks. Their eyes, their antennas also blue. Their eggs are also blue as well. So what is this glowing goo? Is it like the essence of life for the Scaraks? But then that blue of the goo, that kind of rhymes, that also is almost the same color as the freedom color of wind, which is also blue. So I wonder if there's some sort of wind magic or wind element inside of that goo, or it's just some sort of communication network for the Scaraks. Like, what does this blue goo, oh my god, what does it do? What is it like? What does it power? Is it an energy source? I really don't know, but that is very interesting. I wonder what would happen if you were to just clear out all of it, or just burn it, or evaporate it all. Would every Scarak just die? Would all the antennas and everything just not glow blue anymore? Like, I don't know what would happen. Connor also mentioned he saw 3 different Scaraks. One of them was a redesign of the Scarak tank, and this is actually so cool. Before we saw the Scarak tank, kind of like a low to the ground tank with just like a big head. It's kind of a shield. It was also, I believe it was Lynn's logo back in the day, tank. And now the Scarak tank does still have that big head, but instead of just being a big little head guy, he's got big shields on his arms as well, which is so cool. And it's also just a lot larger, and clearly the biggest Scarak that we've seen so far. Scaraks are such an interesting faction, and to me, it kind of seems like there's 3 or 4 bosses in this Scarak nest here now. Before, we really just thought, oh, it's the Broodmother. Now, it kind of seems like it's the Broodmother, which, I mean, we don't know if still exists or not. I would assume so, because what else produces baby Scaraks? Also, this Scarak tank, which clearly is massive, and Connor said some of the biggest, like, Scarak mobs we've ever seen, if not the biggest. And he also mentioned what this Scarak looked like. Like I said, it's got the big head, it's got the big shield on its head, it's got shield on its arms as well, and it also has pincers on each hand. So what would happen? I would assume this Scarak, probably besides maybe all the bosses in the Scarak faction, it probably has the most health, and it probably has certain weak points. So obviously you're not going to be able to damage the shields on its arms and legs, but then I would not be surprised if you can go behind this Scarak and there's a big weak spot on the back, which is pretty cool. And these pincers, can they pick you up? I'm sure it's going to be way bigger than the average player in Hytale, the average avatar. So what would happen if this thing picks you up and just slams you to the ground? Like, bro, you're dead. Also, going back to that blue goo, we did mention that most of the Scaraks have more blue goo or I can't speak, bluish features on them as well. Connor mentioned that the Locust Scarak, which is the flying one that we saw in the trailer, it used to have like a green abdomen before, you know, the little stinger part of it. Now it's blue. So it seems like this green glue is like the essence of Scarak life, and you destroy it, you destroy the Scarak, so that's pretty cool. The next new Scarak, this is a brand new one that we haven't seen before. Connor said it's more of like a Centaur type Scarak. If you don't know what a Centaur is, it's kind of like that half horse, half human type person, dude, mythical creature thing, and he said it's massive, like absolutely massive. And to me, I don't know why, I'm just thinking like of a giant like centipede or like a millipede, but just imagine that kind of broader and just bigger and Scarak-y. I don't know, is Scarak-y even a word? I probably not, but imagine something like that, something that crawls on its back 4 legs or whatever, how many legs it has, and then it's like big, standing up straight, and it's got like pincers for arms and everything. It's got like a crown on its head because it's probably the king of Scaraks or something. And yeah, this apparently is another massive Scarak. I think this is the biggest one that Connor did mention in his video. So Scarak Centaur, who or whatever it's going to be called, I can't wait to hit you with the flamethrower, dude, because I'm about to whoop him. And the last Scarak that Connor talked about is a Scarak that kind of resembles like an emperor, and the way he said it is that it had like a headpiece, kind of like an emperor's crown on it. So is this the broodmother, or is this Scarak like what controls every single Scarak? I really have no idea, and we are going to be getting the Scaraks probably in the next blog post where John Hendricks decides to release information for Hytale, which is very exciting. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this like Emperor Scarak because it sounds dope as hell. Connor mentioned that the Emperor Scarak, we're just going to call it the Emperor Scarak because that just sounds so sick, has bigger arms than the tank Scarak. It has that crown on its head, so this thing's going to be an absolute truck. And honestly, I don't know how it would even be possible to fight the tank, that the Centaur Scarak and the Emperor Scarak at the same time. Then imagine you have all those locusts flying at you with their stingers. Like, that's just going to be super annoying. You're also going to have the same regular worker Scaraks. He mentioned some Scaraks have like blue wings as well too, once again tying all this blue together. And one more thing that Connor also mentioned about like the blue and the goo, that I can't say that with a straight face, it's so funny, is that Scaraks now have these like kind of blue circles on them, 2 or 3 on each different Scarak, which kind of this resembles every single Scarak. And then you go back to that concept art that I showed earlier in the video, and you see the blue pipes obviously, but then you also see these like blue glowing circles in this concept art as well. So what correlation do those blue circles have with the blue circles on the Scarak? Maybe each Scarak has 3 lives. I'm just making this up on the spot right now. Does each Scarak have 3 lives? Maybe you got to kill it 3 times, once every time one of them dies, or it dies, like that Scarak. Once every time you kill that Scarak in a specific way, or the way it dies or something, one of those blue lights go out and you got to kill it 3 times for it actually to die. Because Scaraks, they kind of resemble cockroaches a little bit, and we know cockroaches can live like up to 5 days, I believe, without a head. So what would happen if you just take the head out of the Scarak, but then it's being like mindlessly controlled by like the Scarak Emperor, which would be insane. Like zombie Scaraks, that's just a whole different concept. I could actually make a whole theory about that, not gonna lie, but I really just thought of that on the spot. I'm sure you've killed a bug before, and you've like, I don't know, you smushed it on the ground, and that boy's still moving, which is crazy. So I wonder if Scaraks can do that. I wonder if that's what that blue goo is for. It's kind of like, I don't know, do we call it like Scarak Bluetooth or something? Yeah, we'll call it Scarak Bluetooth. Like, does every Scarak know that you're in the vicinity when, I don't know, for example, you attack a Scarak, then those antennas send off a signal to that blue glue and that blue pipes that are going through the entire ziggurat there, and then every other Scarak in the vicinity is like, oh crap, there's an avatar here, let's all attack. But that's all I have for you guys today. I'm going to be making a part 2 and part 3 about this, about the Connor video, because there is honestly so much to talk about. And he did mention lore with the capital, which is absolutely insane, and I have a crazy theory about that in Gaia. And he also did mention combat. Mine did make a video about that. If you want to go check out Mine's video, it'll be, you can just look up Mine Hytale. His channel's there. But with that being said, hope you guys did enjoy. Hope you did enjoy the recap for this. And with that being said, see you guys next time.